Dude. Dude. Can you please stop? I don't even... Are you trying to bofa me? Is that what it is? You keep saying Kosa. Can you please talk about Kosa? Is this a bofa thing? Is it... I Googled it. It's fucking... What? The Kids Online Safety Act? What is this? Did you see this on TikTok? Is that what it is? Is this a it's like Sesta Fosta. People online are all riled up about it. What is it? What's going on? No, apparently it's a real thing, but people keep coming in here about it for some reason. They were all up in AOC's chat about it the other day. What is it? It's just like here, it's Pearl Mania did a video on it. Is that what it is? You want me to cover this? I'll fuck it. I'll do it. I'll cover it. What is it? This is what I found on Kosa.
Kosa for sure.
Jesus Christ, it's so fucking loud.
But in reality, this is some garbage to make sure that they know. 40 senators have sponsored a bill to make sure that you have to upload your driver's license before you can use your First Amendment on the internet. That's what they want. That's what this bill is. This bill is designed to make sure that they have your home address before you can actually post about anything on the internet. The bill is Senate Bill 1409. 40 senators have sponsored it, Republicans and Democrats. This isn't a left or right issue. This is a speech issue. And they call the bill the Kids Online Safety Act, or KOSA for short. But in reality, this is some garbage to make sure that they know where you live when you post. This bill, they claim, is to protect kids from restricted material on the...
Yeah, I think it's fucking bullshit. Seems dumb as fuck. Seems like an extension of the surveillance state. Seems really stupid. Doesn't seem great at all.
Internet, but what it's going to do is it's going to restrict the internet for everybody and then make you prove you're over 18 before you can look about anything. So maybe there's some history of America that is a little bit dicey, right? Maybe you want to learn a little bit more about the Second Amendment. Maybe there's some controversial stuff out there. Well, this bill allows every attorney general in every state of the union to make sure that they can sue internet companies like TikTok, like Facebook, like Twitter, that they can sue them if they aren't making sure that everyone who looks at controversial topics are over 18. So all these companies are going to have to keep a database of all their users to prove that everyone looking at these controversial...
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. Today, we're talking about a really bad idea. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know that I have always talked about privacy on this channel. And for me, privacy is very important. One of the things we're looking at today is the ESRB, okay? Because they've come up with a legendarily bad idea in my opinion. Now, for those of you who don't know, video games come with age ratings, right? So some games are E-rated, some are T, some are M-rated, like this one, because it's got blood and gore, intense violence, strong language, sexual themes, and the use of alcohol, okay? That's not for kiddos. Now, you know and I know when we were kids and GTA Vice City dropped, their mom and dad went to the store to buy it, simple as that. Nowadays, the ESRB wants to...
Which was bullshit, let me just say. Basically, this will make it so that your online activities are trackable back to your offline address. I mean, your online activities already are trackable and traceable back to your offline address. I don't know why people don't realize that. It's called your IP and your cell tower that it's pinging off of, and everything is already accessible. This just like makes it easily accessible. It makes it more legal to be able to just like draw this information. And also, it opens you up to additional attacks, especially as it pertains to like doxing and whatnot. You already don't have a lot of privacy, but at least it's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more complicated to like figure all this stuff out. You certainly still can, and the government absolutely can. However, in this situation, you will make it easier for bad actors to basically access this as well. It just makes that kind of doxing process more efficient. Can you imagine having your fucking ID and your address, your home address, be easily accessible by every website? You don't fucking know who's going to be able to trace it. You don't know how protected that information is. It's going to make clicking on every single website. MAC addresses and IP aren't legal proof. IP addresses aren't legal proof of identity. I know, I'm just saying, like, people were talking about how they can pinpoint your location or something, when in fact, like, you can have a different address on your ID than the one you actually live on as well, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Yeah, in Alabama, missing woman case, the sheriff had all the Google searches that proved that she was fake and being kidnapped. Like, this is why people don't use Facebook gaming. They don't want to shit post on their government name. Yeah. SB2 is like that is not needed by any corporation unless for tax purposes. Storing that information is super risky. Yeah, I don't like giving that. No, I do not like giving this level of information to every single fucking website that you access, when we know that all of these websites, some of them are barely good at like keeping your fucking password encrypted. You know what I mean? Literally all the case in Sweden. All I need is your name, age, and city to find your address and occupation. Literally already the case in Sweden.
Implement facial scanning technology to check people's age. They've sent this to the FTC, and there's been a bit of misinformation around this, so I wanted to look past the headlines for everybody and just get down to the real nitty-gritty of why this is, in my opinion, not a good idea. So, for instance, the FTC has been told by the ESRB that facial age estimation technology works like this. Basically, the user grabs a photo of themselves, not a selfie, but a live facial check, which basically checks if there is an actual human being in the frame. Then it's uploaded to a back-end server for a company named Yoti, which they're using as the facial scanner company in this case. And what they will do is they will check an estimation of your age. It is an entire 38-page post that they've actually made. So
I have to keep pushing her from underneath me. She's like always underneath me. Bro, the state of Louisiana leaked the entire state's socials because we need it for a driver's license. Imagine trusting anyone to hold anything. Yeah, I don't like that at all.
The way that it works, according to their actual like white paper over here, you can see this person, they detect your face. The face is detected to an image and reduced to pixels. Each pixel is assigned a number that the artificial intelligence can understand. The numbers are computed by a neural network that has been trained to recognize age by looking at millions of images of faces, right? And then the AI finds a pattern in the numbers and produces an age. Now, they have said that this is scarily accurate. For instance, facial age estimation is accurate. It estimates that someone is an adult 99.97% of the time. Facial age estimation is effective. An average 35% of users in the EU and UK who attempt to prove they're adults are rejected for being under the age threshold. Facial age estimation is private. It requires no collection of identity or payment card information, and no images are stored. We'll get to that in a little bit. So generally, the idea going on forward over here is this is a COPA VPC method, which a child, for instance, visits an online service. So here they've actually detailed how they deploy this stuff, okay? So for instance, a child visits an online service and is presented with a neutral age gate. So basically, how old are you, kiddo? Back in the day, we used to just say, yeah, we're 99 years old. They'd let us into the site, okay? Easy as hell. Operator, so basically the service in this case, collects a parent's email address from the child. Hey, kiddo, you're under 13? What's your daddy and mommy's email address? You give them the address. Operator sends a direct notice to parent pursuant to section 312.4. Dad gets the email. Hey, yo, your kid's trying to access the service. Are you cool? And then, of course, you go down and do it. The parent provides relevant permissions for the child. Operator informs parent of the requirement to verify they're an adult. So this is actually a way to beat the entire idea. So basically, if a child was asked, hey, give me your parents' ID address, back in the day, we just used to give a burner email that we would also have access to.
Also, what the fuck are you going to do if you're like, just, you look young? You know what I mean? You're just, sorry.
Pretend to be the parent and get in. So what this is trying to do is a parent says, hey, listen, to prove that I am over the age of 18, 25, whatever, I'm going to give you facial age estimation checks. So a parent is basically told how to do it. They put their phone up. The phone basically does a facial check. It checks if the person is actually.
The bill would also place a legal duty on platforms to prevent matters that pose a risk to physical and mental health of a minor, which is likely to lead to a crackdown on content about sexual health, information on substance abuse, etc. Oh, 100%. Like no more LGBT content in red states, maybe even in blue states without parental supervision, depending on if your parents are conservative or not. And also no more making LGBT decisions.
Alive, you know that they're not like some selfie that the kid is showing. That gets sent to a server. The server confirms their age estimation and either gives a yes or a no. That's pretty much how this is going down into. There was a lot of misinformation from some people where they were like, oh, if you buy an M-rated game like GTA 6 whenever it drops, are you going to be able to access the game or will it require a facial check? No, this is literally a system designed for verified parental consent, meaning that a parent who's being tested has to prove that they're actually above the age of being a parent. You know what I mean? Even the ESRB cleared this up too. Basically, they said that there was a lot of misinformation from a lot of articles. They basically made it sound like kids were being scanned into it, when the reality of this is not necessarily the kids being scanned, it's actually the adults who are the parents of said children. So even the ESRB says any images or data used for this process are never stored, used for AI training, used for marketing, or even sent to the operator. The only piece of information that is communicated to the company requesting VPC is a yes or no. So basically the algorithm will tell you this person's over the age or they're not over the age. And again, it's designed that before you collect any information from the child, the company would request that the parent of the child provide their consent using a live facial scan, which, as they say, is not a selfie, meaning that you actually have to have a...
I'm scared because I feel like you could easily sell this bill to like every fucking panicking parent by being like, you can monitor all of your children's activities online. This gives you better tools to combat sex trafficking that happens literally everywhere and every day, all the time. And then the very likely result is that you need to do a fucking face scan to purchase a $5 subscription to avoid the top of the hour ad break. You know what I mean? Especially if you look young. You're a young looking HasanAbi head and you want to no longer see ads at the top of the hour when you log on to Twitch. At twitch.tv/HasanAbi because there's a 3-minute ad break, and now you have to fucking upload your scan, and if your parents look young, you got to go find your grandparents to come and upload their face so that, you know, they can allow you to see this kind of explicit content. It's really messed up. It's really terrifying. But of course, ultimately, at the top of the hour, the 3-minute ad break comes for you regardless, unless you subscribe at the time being. You don't have to upload your face to do that. Okay, here's the 3-minute ad break now. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky, I guess, by someone else who has uploaded their face to the website and their ID. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Scanning Granny's face at the funeral to log into X videos.
A present facial, like a present human being, eyes open, maybe blinking, showing some sign of life in order to be alive. So again, to understand the reason why I'm against any technology like this, period, is this is gaming. This is a entertainment medium, all right? If we're getting to the point where data collection is so bad, not just for children, but for adults, that we are now requiring like visual like scans of our faces in order to grant yeses or nos and bypass a threshold of being 18, that's not okay at all. So to understand, this is very similar to a process that kind of happens in China as well. I believe over there, they actually do it with children just to make sure that, you know, they're over the age of 18 to access certain games for longer than I believe it's an hour or maybe 30 minutes a day. Which again, that's like the Chinese standard. That's a country known for violating human rights and violating human like privacy. It shouldn't be a standard over here.
I like that we don't take any of the good parts of China and we just only look at the bad parts, like the aspects of Chinese existence that even I, G's biggest dick rider, refuse to come to terms with. You know what I mean? Like, this is like some of the things that I regularly talk critically about with respect to China. And America's like, no high-speed rail, no even development, no rapid development whatsoever. You're not even going to have, at this point, if you live in a rural area, you can't even pay for healthcare in a reasonable, healthcare that is like basically in a reasonable distance, like no hospitals for you. And then the only thing we're doing is the surveillance state beefing itself up so we can figure out whether you're, young looking or not.
Here. And again, there is no 100% confirmation that this information isn't used to help these companies train their algorithms even better. Again, I don't believe that these big billion-dollar companies are not using any speck of data that they cannot get their hands on for bettering their own algorithms. There's very little oversight from what I've seen, and there's very little anybody can do to prove that they're not actually violating the law and their own terms of conditions. Just, do you actually trust Epic? Do you actually trust any of these companies, period, is what I'm going to ask you. So to me, this is super duper wild and ought to see that just to confirm age in video games, or it's not just video games, just for parents to confirm ages, we are getting to the point where actually sending like live facial checks, running through algorithms to confirm validity in this case. Now, people have said, is this a violation of your privacy? I would 100% say yes. No video game.
Isn't it a bit weird that this is happening, but background checks before being able to purchase firearms are basically non-existent? Bring up a very good point. Well, one's protected by the Second Amendment, brother.
No movie, no...
The other is technically protected by the First, but the United States of America don't give a hell. They don't give a dang about the First Amendment, let's be real. I know a lot of people say, oh, I need my Second to protect the First, but the reality is, in so many states right now, 35 to be exact, if you have participated in a right, your First Amendment right to engage with the boycott, divestment, and sanctions on the State of Israel movement, that is a peaceful movement, you cannot be a public school teacher, for example. Like, advocacy for Palestinian rights are illegal if you want to hold a position. If you want to be willingly employed, gainfully employed. It's absolutely unimaginable, but it is the reality. Okay? So we don't really care about the First Amendment, really. This kind of stuff happens regularly.
No piece of music. Nothing is ever a requirement that this needs to be a thing. This shouldn't ever even become a thing. Now, the reason I can see this access, like the service kind of existing, is for games like, I would assume, Call of Duty Warzone or Fortnite, or a lot of these free-to-play games that kids are all in now. And, it's not just the fact that kids are accessing these services that are filled with all these dark patterns and gambling, like through skin boxes, battle passes, so on and so forth. And of course, to understand at the core of it, when kids play these multiplayer services, there is a shit ton of data being collected on them, okay? When a child, a 13, 12-year-old kid, plays a game like Call of Duty Warzone, if they lie about their age and there's no parental checking done right there, a lot of these companies can technically be violating the law by capturing that child's speech, by capturing their text, by capturing whatever data that they are producing, and then sending it for analysis. And I think this implementation is designed just so that these companies can weed out potential issues like that. But that also just raises the question why these companies are harboring all of that data to begin with. Obviously, it's to make a more addictive product, but at the end of the day, maybe these companies and maybe these games should be considering what kind of data that they are harvesting. If companies who produce M-rated video games or video games that collect this kind of data, then I believe the simplest age gate should literally just be a credit card or a debit card right there. There's actually adult services on the internet that pretty much require you to have access to a credit card or a debit card in order to prove that you are 18 and above. Now, you might be wondering, well, Muda, how is a credit card going to be a filter for somebody at the age of 18? I personally believe that's an actual more effective filter than just requiring companies or giving them the ability to actually do facial scanning. Because personally, in my opinion, if you're a child with a credit card or a debit card, you're probably connected to a parent's account anyways. And if you're, for instance, purchasing adult services.
So all of these things, here's one aspect of what Muda is saying that's like kind of correct. I'll give you a different perspective than what he's saying. There is fundamentally no difference between none of these safeguards 100% will stop you from cheating it. Okay? There's not a lot of difference between like clicking on a thing that says you're, born in 1919 versus some other extra steps, extra measures that they put. The more you add safeguards, it doesn't necessarily legitimately prevent children from accessing these websites. You put them there. Obviously, some are more effective than others, but the reason why you put them there is so that you're stopping at least like a large percentage of people who don't want to take the initiative. Okay? I think that you need to make it difficult, certainly. I think you need to make it difficult. I am in favor of a level of difficulty. Are you going to cover the Colleen Ballinger stuff? Are you okay? What happened now? Are you a time traveler? Like, are you a mobile chatter from a month ago or something? Yeah, chatter's logging on from an Internet Explorer from a goddamn pager from 1993. Anyway, you have to do a cost-benefit analysis on every single circumstance, every single new safeguard measure that you put in place, and I think that this doesn't meet the muster. This doesn't pass the smell test. I think that it's not great. Especially when you're talking about like AI face scanning or uploading your identification to a website that's not very protective.
Like OnlyFans, for instance, through your credit card, your parents should have a.
What is happening? Do I have like a bunch of gray names in the chat being like, watch this person's TikTok? How are they getting clapped so quick? Are we getting botted? You can get chat botted on Twitch too? What the hell? They give you petitions and call scripts? I don't know what's happening here. It's weird.
A pretty clear view on what it is that you're doing with your credit card purchase. And if you are using your parent's credit card, it's very easy to A, monitor that as a parent, and then B, remove that access entirely right there and then from the financial service. I don't believe that we should be allowing any of these services to start facially scanning us. I get that they already probably do that, but giving them the keys to the VIP is just not the actual play to be having here. So I wanted to look behind the misinformation. No, this isn't used to age-gate children out of M-rated games. That's stupid to begin with. Companies would never want younger audiences to never play M-rated games. That's more than half of their fucking player base. The other reality is obviously these companies want to prevent some of these children from giving up their data on an 18 plus game, or, they have to be above 13 per COPA compliance so that when they are giving up their data, these companies can confirm that they are of age to give up their personal private data. And I think this is what it's pretty much implemented for. But yeah, I still don't think this is a good idea. I still don't think the ESRB promoting any form of facial scanning tech to be regular in video gaming is a good idea. We're getting to the point where privacy is literally non-existent, okay? And it's becoming more non-existent day by day. I think this is a generally bad idea. I think giving any company the ability, even if they claim that they're deleting all of your information as soon as they're done with it, is not a good idea, period. Time and time we've seen companies get hacked. Time and time we've seen data leaks occur. And the less data that I think we give any of these companies, the better. And, if the ESRB gets mad at that, then they can kick rocks. If companies are mad that they're not getting their permits for facial clearing technology, then kick rocks, okay? This is a free part of the world, and it should be a private part of the world too. Companies should only get as much data as they legally require. And if video games are so invasive and collect so much data, then maybe that's on the actual company right there. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and yeah, a lot to unpack over here, but I wanted to talk about it because I think it's a legendarily stupid idea, and I hope it doesn't go through. I am out.
Ow. Ow, 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 ow. I just kicked the shit out of the gate as I was jumping over it. I don't know if you guys could hear it. All this COSA stuff seems to be from a week of action led by this group that started on 7/20. Today we launch the week of action to oppose bills like COSA and earn it and demand Congress focus on privacy laws to protect us from big tech companies and data brokers instead of pushing through misguided legislation before August recess. Take action. Yes, this is what happened on AOC stream. I have a feeling it's a Discord server rating asking you to check their website. I don't even understand. Is this like a bullshit? Is this like real legislation? Is this kind of like bullshit? And then like people are making a big stink about it. There's something very suspicious about all of this that I don't really fully understand. Especially considering I don't think it's that. I think it's just the astroturfing campaign by this group. Like, especially considering the botting that just occurred where there were so many people. There were so many people just like posting the same exact message as soon as I brought this up. Like, there's something that's like real fishy about this. Like the viability of this legislation. I bet it's someone who just told their audience to go and say something in your chat since they're talking about this issue right now. They're not probably bad or bots. This reminds me of SOPA and PIPA bills in 2011. Remember this? Oh, I do remember this. Notice this image has been found in violation of HR 3261 SOPA and has been removed. Security through censorship. For more information about the Stop Online Piracy Act and how it affects you, visit americancensorship.org. Like, guys, here's the thing. People push bills like this all the fucking time. Not all of them pass. A lot of them don't actually pass at all. They're like just silly, dumb bills. Similar bills, not SOPA, but similar bills to what Senator Blumenthal has pushed, the Kids Online Safety Act, COSA. have pushed in different states for pornography, for accessing pornographic material online, but I don't really know. It's not COSA that would require a driver's license. It's the Mature Act. This is from Josh Hawley. Yeah, I just don't know if this is going to pass, like, at all. You know what I mean? Make age verification technology uniform, robust, and effective act, or Mature Act. And it's from fucking Josh Hawley. You know what I mean? And it was introduced in February. It's a misinfo campaign. What? To distract us while they do a brain transplant in McConnell? Yeah, no. It won't. And then the TikTokers would declare victory and do the same thing for another bill that will never pass in 3 months. And I'm not even saying that this is like very difficult to pass exclusively because we have a gridlock Congress or anything like that, like an obstructionist House of Representatives. But I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. It seems severe, but I see a lot of severe bills that are really fucked up that rarely ever get. I mean, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the Kids Online Safety Act is still a huge danger to our rights online. The AFF is pretty legit. They're pretty good. Bill to increase surveillance and restrict access to information in the name of protecting children online. COSA was introduced in 2022, but failed to gain traction. And today's authors, Blumenthal and Marsha Blackburn, have reintroduced it with slight modifications. Though some of these changes were made in response to over 100 civil society organizations and LGBTQ right groups' criticism of the bill, its latest version is still troubling. Today's version will still require surveillance of anyone 16 and under. It would put the tools of censorship in the hands of state attorneys general and will greatly endanger the rights and safety of young people online. And COSA's burdens will affect adults too. COSA still requires filtering and blocking of legal speech. Online child safety is a complex issue, but COSA attempts to boil it down to a single solution. The bill holds platforms liable if their designs and services do not prevent and mitigate a list of societal ills: anxiety, depression, eating disorders, substance use disorders, physical violence, online bullying, harassment, sexual exploitation and abuse, suicidal behaviors. Additionally, platforms will be responsible for patterns to use that or indicate or encourage addiction-like behaviors. So that sounds great, right? On its face. These bills often do. But let's take a look at what the fuck. Let's take a look at what they consider to be societal ills and also the vague generalities that would be so over-encompassing as to make most websites unusable for anyone, for everyone, actually, as a matter of fact, not just anyone under the age of 16. Deciding what designs or services lead to these problems will primarily be left up to the FTC and 50 individual state attorneys general to decide. Ultimately, this puts platforms that serve young people in an impossible situation without clear guidance regarding what sort of design or content might lead to these harms. They would likely censor any discussions that would make them liable. To be clear, though the bill's language is about designs and services, the designs of a platform are not causing eating disorders. As a result, COSA would make platforms liable for the content they show minors, full stop. It will be based on vague requirements that any attorney general could more or less make up. Utah has banned porn sites. Yeah, well, Utah didn't ban porn sites. They made something similar to this for porn sites, and porn sites stopped serving in Utah instead of complying with this law because the law is ridiculous. Attorneys general would decide what content is dangerous to young people. COSA's co-author, Blackburn of Tennessee, has referred to education about race discrimination as dangerous for kids. Many states have agreed and recently moved to limit public education about the history, race, gender, and sexuality discrimination. If COSA passes, platforms are likely to preemptively block conversations that discuss these topics as well as discussions about substance use, suicide, and eating disorders. As we've written in our previous commentary on the bill, COSA could result in loss of access to information that a majority of people would agree is not dangerous. Again, issues like substance abuse, eating disorders, and depression are complex societal issues, and there is not clear agreement on their causes and their solutions. A big one example, in some communities, safe injection sites are seen as a part of the solution to substance abuse. In others, they are seen as a part of the problem. Under COSA, could a platform be sued for displaying content about them or about needle exchanges, naloxone, or other harm reduction techniques? The latest version of COSA tries but ultimately fails to address this problem in two ways. First, by clarifying the bill shouldn't stop a platform or its users from providing resources for the prevention or mitigation or of its listed harms. And second, by adding that claims under the law should be consistent with evidence-informed medical information. Unfortunately, were an attorney general to claim that content about trans healthcare, for example, poses a risk to minors' health, which, by the way, 100% that will happen, and it has happened already, they would have no shortage of evidence-informed medical information on which to base their assertions. Numerous states have laws on the books claiming that gender-affirming care for trans youth is child abuse. In an article for the American Conservative titled "How Big Tech Turns Kids Trans," by the way, things that we joke about how like the internet's transing our children, like that's a real thing that people write unironically and uncritically in conservative circles. So just remember that next time we're joking about this kind of thing. Like I make jokes about it, but these motherfuckers are very serious about it. Despite leading medical groups recognizing the medical necessity for treatments for gender dysphoria. In the same article, the authors laud COSA, which would prohibit content that pose a risk to minors' physical and mental health. Same issues exist on both sides of the political spectrum. COSA is ambiguous enough that an attorney general who wanted to censor content regarding gun ownership or Christianity could argue that its harmful effects on young people. That'll never happen, of course, not in a million fucking years, no how. Because liberals are pussies. They don't behave in the same way that Republicans do. COSA would still lead to age verification on platforms. It must, of course, know whether or not minors use the platform, who they are. Age verification mandates creates many issues. In particular, they undermine anonymity by requiring all users to upload identity verification documents and share private data, no matter their age. Other types of age assurance tools, such as age estimation, also requires users to upload biometric information such as their photos and have accuracy issues. That's insane. I don't want a website to fucking have my facial recognition. I do not want a website to have my license and identity. Okay? It's wild.